Welcome to the Work Hard, Play Hard podcast. My name is Rob Murgatroyd, and I'm a former doctor turned lifestyle entrepreneur. Each week, I interview some of the best minds on the planet on the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. Come take this journey with me. Excuses are over. It's time to live.
It's funny, somebody asked me this question the other day on social media, that what do I fear most? And I said, mediocrity and living a life not worth telling a story about. I see so many people putting their health on the back burner, right? Because they're not seeing some sort of ROI and especially like some sort of currency coming out of that. They just think that by scaling their business, focusing on their business, that, once they scale their business, then they can come back and sit there and focus on their health. But it doesn't really work like that. You only have one life, one legacy, and we never know how much time we have on this planet, and the worst feeling ever is to wake up and ask yourself, but what if I did this? What if?
What's up, everybody? This is Rob Murgatroyd, and welcome to another episode of the Work Hard, Play Hard show. Today's guests are the dynamic duo twins of Eric and Chris Martinez. Who are Eric and Chris? They're serial entrepreneurs that run an online personal training service. Now, before you think, why do I want to listen to these two guys who are personal trainers online? My ask for you is that you give this short episode a listen. And here's why. In this conversation, we talk about everything from the night their lives changed when a California highway patrolman knocked on their door at 3 a.m. with a chaplain, the truth about building a business online, how difficult it is and the rewards of it, and what being in Tai Lopez's $25,000 mastermind was really like, and a lot more. So you can find these guys on the socials at Dynamic Duo Training. So without further ado, please enjoy this conversation I had with Eric and Chris Martinez. Eric and Chris, welcome to the show.
Rob, thanks so much for having us. We're really looking forward to delivering some value to your listeners. And yes, the pleasure is all ours.
You know what, man? You two fall into the category of how do we not know each other? I mean, we run in the same circles, but we've never actually met.
Exactly. And that's why I asked before the show started, I was like, where are you actually based out of? Because I was hoping you would say Los Angeles so we could meet for some coffee, just build that relationship a little bit more. But yeah, it is kind of intriguing how we're always kind of around the same circles and like almost in the same type of, realm of like work. So I think it's awesome that we've connected here and can't wait.
All right. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to start with a basic question and then go a bit deeper. And for people listening, the two voices you're going to hear are Eric and Chris. And for the love of God, I'm not going to be able to tell either one of them apart. They are twins, and one of them will brag that he's a minute older. But at the end of the day, they really do sound alike. So I'm going to sort of, when I speak to you guys, feel free to whoever wants to jump in unless I direct it to somebody specific, okay?
Perfect. Or I'll give Chris an elbow here and there.
All right. Sounds good. So I'd like to start with just some basic, simple question, but then I'm going to go deep fast with your permission.
Okay.
All right. So if you were to meet somebody at a cocktail party and they asked you what you do, what would you tell them?
I would simply tell them that, we are fitness consultants and we help people look better, feel better, and perform better and enhance their lifestyles as well.
Okay. I'd like to rewind the clock and go back 14 years and discuss an area that you've both been fairly open about, and I believe will place a better lens on the rest of this interview for the people that are listening. And if you don't feel comfortable answering, just say the word and we'll move on. Can you walk us through and place us on the night when you two guys were 17, I believe, and at 3 a.m., a California highway patrolman knocked on your door?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Rob. Really appreciate that. And I always like sharing this story because it could impact just one person and help them out. So if I rewind that night, so we were 17 years old. It was actually 3 days before Christmas, and we grew up in kind of like that picture perfect family. And our father was kind of the breadwinner. He was the role model. He was everything to us, and he was very supportive, great husband, everything. And he was actually a correctional officer at San Quentin State Prison. So it was 3 days before Christmas, and we got a knock on our door, and it was 3 a.m, and it was a chaplain and a California Highway Patrol officer, and that's not a good combination if you really think about it. So I thought I was in a nightmare, but I never woke up from that nightmare. So I remember getting up, and I saw them at the door, and then I saw my mother actually on her knees, just screaming bloody murder, and they had told her that my father had passed away in a car accident and died instantly. So from that moment, our life pretty much turned around in a 360. And we went through some dark times. We really did. And then 3 months after that, my mom's mom actually passed away due to cancer. So it was just kind of like a ton of bricks hit our family all at that one time. And Chris and I were kids. I really think that 17, 18-year-old, you're 18 years old, you're still kind of a kid. And like I said, we lost our role model. We lost everybody, we lost our father, and it was just tough, to kind of get through. And, we went through some dark times just because we were very angry. We were very rebellious. And then, I remember just too, I feel like I lost part of my mother because she turned to alcohol. She turned to antidepressant pills. She was a completely different person. And I remember coming home from work, from school when I lived at home, and she would be passed out, just intoxicated, just with pill bottles. And, for a kid to see that type of stuff, it's just, it's very, very tough. And, like I said, we went through some dark times, but then we hit this turning point where we just got into trouble, and we looked at each other and we said, what are we doing? What are we doing with our life? We were raised way better than this. We have so much more to offer the world. Either we turn this around now or we keep going down this dark path. And that's when we found our first mentor. And, he taught us a lot about, fitness, body composition, the science behind it. We were really intrigued by it because the weight room kind of alleviated our stress. And after that, we went on to get multiple certifications, our master's in nutrition, got our BA in communications and business. And, we've just published a book. It's called The New Era of Fitness last year. We're speakers. And that's pretty much it. We have our foot on the gas pedal now.
So having the loss of such a significant role model in your life and a mom who was reaching for pills and alcohol, what were the steps that got you to effectively deal with the anger that you were dealing with?
I think the steps really was the outlet was the gym. We were pretty much obsessed with it, and this is kind of something we teach like our community and our clients, and it's called the fitness pendulum swing. And so if your audience actually imagines a pendulum swing, if you shift it over to the left, we call that a rigid black and white type of approach with fitness, and that's kind of where it's just obsession, right? You're putting fitness on a pedestal. It affects different areas in your life. You kind of wear a mask to kind of alleviate pain that you're going through, and if you switch it over to the right side of the pendulum swing, that's more of kind of like too flexible, not really caring about what's going on. You're going through the motions, you're gaining some weight. It's really just not a systematic approach within fitness. So we were on both of those sides of the pendulum swing, within fitness, because we were wearing a mask to alleviate that pain that we lost our father and what we were dealing with our mom for pretty much 6 years, really dark times for 6 years. And it wasn't until we met our mentor to where we actually figured out how to get that pendulum swing in the middle of it, which we call the sweet spot, where you kind of have fitness as a part of your life, not consuming your entire life.
I know that you did a Tai Lopez mastermind. So I'd like to talk a little bit about that. And the reason why is this show is about working hard and playing hard. And we'll get to the play hard part later. But for right now, in the working hard section, I've personally been introduced to masterminds. I've heard about them, but I never really understood how they functioned. I know that they're incredibly expensive. And this year I just decided myself to do one. And it's been completely game changing for me. And it's only been probably 2 months that we've been doing it. So my question to you is going to be a couple of them. The first one is around the cost of the mastermind. I know that Tai Lopez, and for people that don't know who Tai Lopez is, maybe you can add some color there and tell us about it.
Mm-hmm.
But Tai Lopez charged, I think, $25,000 to get into the mastermind. So tell me a little bit about that, and tell me a little bit about him and why you guys decided to do it.
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm actually glad you brought this up. And I'll kind of rewind this a little bit. It was probably about 3 to 5 years, if I can remember. Just Eric and I, we hit a point in our business where, we just wanted to sit there and take it up a notch. And we went to Tai Lopez's retreat that he had here in Hollywood. And for those that don't know who Tai Lopez is, he's actually just like a really, really savvy internet marketer. And he does a lot of other stuff. And he's really known for his book a day. So he's inspired a lot of people to start reading, and he's got a lot of great online programs as well too. He's got kind of a negative perception from a lot of people, but he's just such a smart guy, and he's really trying to make an impact in the world. It's just all the stuff that people see with the cars and the house and all that they write him off. So that's kind of a little background on who he is. And he had a great story that he talked about at his retreat. That really resonated with us, and it was really relatable. And, after that, he pitched his $25,000 mastermind for a full year. And Eric and I just knew that this was the next step. It felt right. We were in LA. We needed this. We needed to go to his house 4 times throughout that year. That's what included in the mastermind. We needed to be around those higher level people, just literally being able to have conversation with millionaires and be in his network and learn different things and acquire that mindset, so we pulled the trigger, and it was very, very scary. I remember we were just like, wow, $25,000. Okay, let's do this, and it was probably one of the best investments we've ever made, because it's not like it took our business, you get some really good business ideas and systems to create for it. But for us, that wasn't the biggest takeaway. The biggest takeaway was the mindset that we acquired. We went into that mastermind with just kind of a scarce mindset. We were very afraid, playing small. And now, after being around those people, having those conversations, going to his house in Beverly Hills, 4 times, learning from all the guest speakers that he had. I mean, the mindset that we've acquired now, it's relentless. It's unstoppable. Nothing is going to stop us from attaining our vision and impacting the world and what we're set out to do. So that is the biggest reason why we're so huge on masterminds and why we advocate them, because it's the mindset that it really creates and cultivates to where, when you have those dark times in business and life, you're going to get back up, because of that mindset.
So what would you say that you got out of that? In other words, how are you doing things differently now after the mastermind? I know you mentioned that the mindset is different. Were there any specific strategies or anything that you learned within that you're applying now?
I think the biggest thing was that, and I think Chris can agree with this too, was that we actually wrote our book when we were in that mastermind. And we did that because we got inspired by it. And I remember him telling us, he's like, why don't you guys just write a book? If that's what you want to do, then just do it right now. Just write it out and roll with it. And I think that it was just us thinking way too much, paralysis by overanalysis. And we took action on it. And I think our book, kind of has elevated our business because it's very powerful, to position ourselves as experts and get more speaking engagements, be on more podcasts. And it's a great way to get people to know you, like you, and trust you, right? So I think that was one of the biggest things.
And then to add to that too, at one of his retreats in Beverly Hills, he actually had 2 speakers come in to where they were talking about, the power behind publishing a book. And then they actually had a 3 to 4 day event in San Diego that, we actually got a discount for being in Tai's mastermind. So we had a great conversation with those 2 guys there after they talked, and it was just a done deal to go there and get our book published. And that's what we went. So that was a huge key just from that, because we would have never gotten access to these guys. We would have never heard from these guys before if it wasn't for Tai providing these 2 speakers at his house within the mastermind.
That's so great. Yeah, I mean, I feel the exact same way with my mastermind. Okay, so you guys talked at the top of the hour about some of the challenges that you went through, and I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the darker times that you maybe had in business, because we all talk a lot, especially even in things like podcasts. We all talk a lot about positive things, and we share all the successes that we have. But I think we also can learn from failures. So what are some of the darker times that you had building your business, and how were you able to get yourself out of it?
That's a great question. I don't think we've ever been asked that question, but I love this because Eric and I are very transparent, and we're all about talking about the wins and losses in life, and including business, because I see way too many people on social media sitting there saying they're crushing it. They're making X amount of money. Life is so great that entrepreneurship is just the best thing in the world. And to be honest, after doing this for 7 years, it's very tough. There's dark times. It's like a roller coaster. There's ups and downs. And I know you know this, Rob. So I just want to start off with that, but I would say some of the darkest times is, when it's acquiring the mindset to understand that like it's not going to be like this linear job where you sit there and get a paycheck, every 2 weeks or every single month, and it's not going to be steady. There's going to be good months, there's going to be bad months. Good weeks, bad weeks. You're not going to close some clients. Some projects aren't going to go through. You could be working on a product launch for 3 to 6 weeks. And once you put it out to the market, it might not be a good fit for the market. You know what I mean? So that might tank that 3 to 6 months that you thought that you had the most amazing product. You go out there and you launch it, spend all this money, this time, this energy, this excitement. And if it tanks, you know what I mean? You have to sit there and have that thick skin and understand that it's not the market's fault. It's your fault for making the product, right? It wasn't a good product market fit. And it's just a lot of those type of things. You know what I mean? It's just, and it all comes down to a mindset, and understand that this isn't a short-term thing. You're not going to cash out. It's a long-term thing. It's a lifestyle. It's a constant battle, up and down, tweaks, experiments, collaborations, networking, all that stuff. So I would say that's pretty much like the darkest times for myself. One of the biggest things I had to really kind of realize and understand is just the mindset to understand that there's no linear line with this, that it's going to be ups and downs with finances, projects, all that stuff. Yeah. And I want to kind of share a story with your audience, Rob, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And so for me, one of my darkest times as an entrepreneur was 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, our business was doing so well. We had literally like 50 clients each online, which is too much. I don't do that anymore, but it was very overwhelming, but it was good. We were making great money. Our business was scaling. We moved into a very, very nice 3-bedroom house in Orange County, California. And our goal and vision was to actually transform the garage into a studio gym. So we actually invested $10,000 into transforming that gym into a beautiful kind of state-of-the-art gym to where we could actually train clients in person, where we could actually hire independent trainers to pay us rent and to do a lot of content production in there. And our mistake was that we were renting the home, and that was just because we didn't think it through. We were kind of jumping off emotions, and the decision was based off emotions. And that's a good teaching lesson for the listeners, that you have to really think things through, because a lot of our decisions are based off emotions. We were probably about 7 months into the lease, and everything was going great. We had clients. We were just filming things in there, building courses in that gym. And then we get a phone call when we were on vacation. How ironic. And the landlord says, "Hey, I'm going to sell my place. I just don't want to be doing this anymore. And you guys have to literally, when your lease is up, you have to be out within 30 days. So Chris and I were just crushed. Our souls were crushed just because that vision just kind of went out the door. We had so much stuff just planned for that. And we literally had to sell all that gym equipment within 30 days. And we were able to do that. And we still lost some money from that. But it was just crushing, man. Like it really, really was, to just see how we built that gym and then have to sit there and tear it all down. I don't know what the learning lesson was at the end of the day for that, because it happened for a reason, and we're here where we're at now. And maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe we'll never know the answer to it, but it happened for a reason. So I just want to kind of share that story.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I look at this as like a favorite failure. Every time I see one of these things, it's like this happened for a reason, and it has served me and it's helped me later on in life. So, it's not really, I don't think it's our job, to know what every reason is, but eventually, given enough time, we look back and we go, oh, that's why this thing happened. Okay, I got it. What is the hardest challenge or even bad behavior that you guys are currently working on with yourselves? And you feel free to just kind of take it, each one of you can take that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go deep on this too. This is Chris. So a bad behavior that I have is really just kind of finding more joy and fulfillment in my life as an entrepreneur and in this entire journey and process. I'm very hard on myself. I'm all about kind of investing in myself going forward now. And, 7 years into this now, when things start to take off and get even bigger than they are now, I want to make sure that I have the mind set grounded, for that and be prepared, and I see a lot of people do it the opposite way. You know what I mean? So we've invested some money that we could have sat there and invested in the business and scaled it or another project, this and that, right? But I don't care about that. I don't care about doing the next project or the next scale. You know what I mean? That's not going to make me fulfilled or find more joy. So we want to kind of get back to where we were before, really ground ourselves with the mindset before other things start to really come up within the business.
Whew. Man, that was powerful what Chris said. So I'm going to echo all of that, but at the same time, I just want to talk and I want to go a different direction really quick. And for me, it's understanding when to turn it off each day. And this is something that's very difficult as an entrepreneur. And if the listeners are listening to this, it's very crucial that you find a time to sit there and cut off like each day and accept what you've put into that day, because there's times where I'm working till about 9, 10 at night or even at 11 at night. And it's just, to me, that's not healthy. It really isn't. So, for me, I have to find that balance and be very disciplined when to actually just, cut it off and be like, okay, I did enough today. That's fine. Tomorrow's another day. And that's that. I need to kind of decompress. I need to do like a wind down routine and just really calm my brain down and get some good, sufficient sleep. And just take my mind off just business and learning and stuff. Just watch maybe just Netflix or some sports or something.
Yeah, look, this is in my wheelhouse. The reason why this podcast was created was exactly what you guys are both describing now. Tony Robbins talks about the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. And there is a science to achievement. We go to masterminds, you go to your different events, you get strategies, you follow the strategies, you use a launch strategy for your product. And, you got a better than level shot of having things work. But when it comes to fulfillment, it's tricky. And that is an art. And that's why, this podcast was created, which is everybody has a different way that they need to be fulfilled. And frankly, there's different stages at your life. How old are you guys now?
32.
32. Okay. So it's different at 30 than it is at 40 and than it is at 50. We go through different things, and finding that is really where the art comes in. So I applaud you guys for knowing that is a challenge. And when you're in an internet business, there's an iPad and there's an iPhone, there's a laptop everywhere. You can always work. You can just work until you drop dead. So you got to find that balance. So, okay, cool. Let's talk a little bit about the play hard part of your lives. And like I was alluding to earlier, the art of fulfillment is something that means different things to different people. So however you guys want to answer it, there is no right answer for play hard. I'm just curious to know how you guys think about it. So what is the one thing that's rocking your world right now that has nothing to do with work?
Ooh, that's a great one. And I have that just right there at the tip of my tongue. And that is boxing. So Chris and I have been doing individual boxing, private sessions out in Venice Beach for the last, I would say, 8 weeks. And holy moly, if you have not tried boxing, it is just, gosh, it's such a stress reliever and just a mental, thing to where it's just so powerful. And literally, I love weight training and everything, but it puts weight training to shame, just the conditioning part, just the mental aspect of it. And that's just something that I look forward to on a weekly basis. And I try to do it at least 2 times per week and just really challenge myself because, like I said, it is so mental. So for me, I'm really enjoying the boxing aspect of life.
Oh, that's great.
And for me, I would say it's what we like to call a reset Sunday. So Sunday is the day where we absolutely don't do anything. We don't do anything work-wise. We don't even crack open the laptops, For me, that's been working really well just because it gets my mind off of work. It allows me to really detach and just not worry about anything that has to do with work-related, social media-wise, anything like that. I can go out there and do stuff that I really enjoy, be a kid again just for a little bit, So we live in beautiful LA. There's tons of things to do. So that's the day where we get to just kind of go out and go to different cities, go to brunches, theme parks, whatever it is that day, but like I said back earlier, that I want more fulfillment and joy, like on a daily basis, so I can't wait every Sunday to do that. It's just, it's too much, and it's just, it's too stressful, so that's one thing I would say it's really working for me right now.
What is the top thing that you do to clear the brain chatter and drown out the noise of the world?
Whew. So what I like to do with that, I think that happens every day on a daily basis for everybody, whether you're an entrepreneur or just somebody that's even just working a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? There's so much noise out there. There's so many shiny objects, so much going on, so I always ask, even my community and my clients, like, how do you sit there and detach from all that? Right. And that's why I'm such a big advocate on a wind down routine. So for me, I personally do have like a cutoff time, and it is, anywhere from 9 to 10, just depending if I get everything done. But after that, that's kind of my time to kind of detach, not sit there and check my phone or social media anymore, whether that's going out for a late night walk, doing like a light static stretch, just even taking like a nice warm bath to kind of just relax. There's so many things that you can do with the wind down routine to sit there and just get your mind off of that. And I think it carries over into a really good restful night's sleep, so you can be more productive the next day. So that's kind of what I'm doing.
Relationships can be challenging and maybe even go on the back burner while you're building a business. What struggles have you had in this area, and how have you overcome them?
Yeah, great question. I think that's very powerful for your listeners too, because I'm sure some of them have significant others and they are pursuing entrepreneurism, and it's a very selfish sport, if you call it that, because you have to be all about you to a certain extent. You have to sit there and put in the long hours. You have to, do whatever you have to do to get your business going. And sometimes relationships do suffer. And I think I learned from it 5 years ago, with my relationship. I was in a 5-year relationship before this one. And that's when I was like barely starting my business, and gosh, I was just thinking back. I mean, I just didn't know any better. I was just, putting the relationship on the back burner like anything else. And a relationship is just like a plant. You have to water the plant to keep it growing. So for me, I didn't know any better. And I just put it on the back burner. I stopped, communicating. I was just more about my business than the relationship. And ultimately it backfired. And we just parted ways, and it was for a good thing though, because I felt that person, deserved better, and I couldn't give my 100% to that person. And that's not fair. It needs to be 50-50, and everybody has to be all in on a relationship. And now the relationship I'm in, I've learned so much from those mistakes to where it's like, I'm not going to let that happen with this one and going forward, but I'm still a work in progress. I still have my flaws. I make mistakes, but I mean, it's just about learning.
Yeah, for sure. God's not done with you yet, right?
Exactly.
So what is the one thing that you've implemented in your lifestyle that's helped you look better, feel better, or be healthier?
I would say that the most powerful thing for me, it always starts with the morning routine. And I know a lot of people will be like, well, what do you mean? How does that kind of like carry over to those 3 things? For me, man, the morning routine is everything. It starts just, with that 60 to 90 minutes of just your time, me time, to where whatever you want to do, you could sit there in silence. You could sit there and read a book. You could sit there and go exercise. You could sit there and listen to a podcast. Whatever it is that you want to do for that 60 to 90 minutes to really prime your mindset for the day, because I'm all about taking care of ourselves in order to be able to serve people better, for the day. And I don't check emails. I don't check text messages, social media notifications for that first 60 to 90 minutes that I know that I took care of myself. After that, it's going to carry over to me going to the gym. It's going to carry over me being a better coach, a better business person, a better person in my personal life with relationships, all that type of stuff. So that just by starting that 60 to 90 minutes of taking care of myself, that helps me look better, feel better, perform better in all areas of life.
I agree with Chris.
Copy that.
How do you shut off the noise when you wake up and the text notifications and all the other things are popping up? Do you have a strategy for that? Do you shut your phone off, or how does that work?
Yeah, so I got this nice little tactic from Tai Lopez. He said just literally put your phone on airplane mode for that first 60 to 90 minutes and sit there and take off all the notifications. This way you can't get bothered and you can't sit there and get that trigger from like that notification, and it's such a simple thing to do, and I know the first thing people like to do is check their phone, their social media and all that stuff. But then you get sucked into the Instagram world, the Facebook world, and then maybe you get a bad comment and that leads over to, you kind of thinking, what did I do to get that bad comment? And then it ruins your day, it ruins your morning routine. So turn off all notifications, put it on airplane mode. Don't even look at your phone for 60 to 90 minutes. Just focus on yourself.
Speaking of focusing on yourself, you guys didn't focus on yourself and you took a trip to Mexico to help out some orphans and give back. Tell me about that.
Oh yeah, that was an amazing experience, Rob. There's so many things bigger out there that you could do, to make an impact, to leave a legacy, to serve people, to give back to those in need. And it was just such an eye opener to how spoiled we are as Americans, and we complain about the littlest things, about like internet, our phone. It's just ridiculous when you really think about it. So going to that Mexico trip really kind of just made us just better people. I really, really do think that. And I mean, that Mexico trip was so powerful because now we do a lot of philanthropy work. And, we go to different orphanages here in LA. We donate to an orphanage called Together We Rise every month to get those kids backpacks. So, I mean, going to Mexico was a huge game changer and just for the better, I think.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, every time we take time to give back, it's just, the older I get, the more I realize that is the thing that brings your soul alive, for sure. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about, I want to give you some rapid fire questions, but I also want to have you field some questions that have come in from social media, if that's okay with you.
Sure. Absolutely.
So Jeremy 363 wants to know, what's the secret to working together and do you guys fight?
That's such a good question.
Of course we
absolutely do fight. We butt heads. And the reason being because we're just opposite when it comes to that. Like this is Chris. I'm more of the kind of like, let's get stuff done. I'm the go-getter. I don't really think twice about it. I just want to just like keep moving the needle. Eric's more kind of like a little bit relaxed. He's big picture, kind of just like takes the time to second guess things and slow me down a little bit. So that's how we balance ourselves out. And I think it works really, really good because it wouldn't work too good if we were both the same.
And I think just to add to that comment, what really makes us very successful each and every week is we start off our week by a business meeting. So that's the first thing on the agenda every Monday morning. And it's like, whether it's like half an hour to an hour, we literally sit there and just lay it all out for the week, what we need to get done, whether it's like the social media calendar, client updates, projects, content creation, so much different things. So I think that is what really kind of just, puts us in the driver's seat for success every week.
Love it. At Miller Union wants to know, what advice would you have for someone just starting out building an online business?
Yeah, so I would say the first thing is really figure out, first of all, what, I don't like using the word passion too much. I like more kind of like what excites you most. So first, you got to figure out what that excitement is, what really gets you going every single day. Like, figure out the whole why and purpose behind why you want to build the online business. Once you figure out the excitement, the why, the purpose, then you can sit there and start the business, and things will be so much easier because you'll be fired up every single day to work so much harder at that. From there, it just really depends on the context of what business you want to go into. But for me, it's really just kind of like, outsourcing and delegating things that you don't like to do and what you're not good at, and you focus on the things that you're good at, and just really take your time. You know what I mean? Just don't rush into everything. Be a little bit patient. Build a community and a culture, which is super important these days. Give the greatest customer service, almost like Amazon Prime type of customer service, and from there, with all those ingredients and having a good team around you, building the systems and the processes, your business online will grow over time.
We're going to hit a couple of rapid fire questions before we wrap up. Feel free to answer these as quickly or take as much time as you like. What do you fear most?
I fear most just going forward, just like kind of like the uncertainty of just how fast things are changing, just with social media, technology. I just fear it because I'm kind of like an old school guy. I'm a blend of it both, a millennial and an old school guy. I love the human communication aspect. I love talking to people face to face. So it just scares me going forward, just kind of like, with all the technology and, people just talking about AI and all that stuff. I'm just scared that it's going to take away from that human communication. But again, I'm kind of like, opposite of it, thinking that we're going to go back to more of the human communication. So I would say that kind of fears, that's my biggest fear going forward.
For me, Eric, I would say living a life of mediocrity. And it's funny, somebody asked me this question the other day on social media, that what do I fear most? And I said, mediocrity and living a life not worth telling a story about. And I say that because, like I said, I really believe in what Chris and I are doing. And I see the big vision, the big picture going forward. It's about sticking to it and just enjoying the ride, the ups and downs. And for me, I can't play small, Rob. I can't, it's just not in my DNA. I'm going to go all in on this and crash and burn if I have to, because I believe in it so much. And that's what I fear most, I guess, is just living a life of, not telling a story about.
Yeah, it's such a great answer. Okay, what is the one thing that you own that you probably should throw out, but you never will?
This is a funny one. So I have a bodybuilding trophy on my desk in my room, and it was from, was it like 4 or 5 years ago?
2013.
Yeah, so about 4 or 5 years ago, we did a natural bodybuilding contest, and we just wanted to test the waters because, we do coach some of those athletes, but not as much anymore. And, I remember I won a trophy. I took like 4th place, which was not that great in my opinion. But I was proud of it. I was proud that I went through that journey. It was like a 26-week journey, which was hell, by the way. And I was proud of it. So I have that trophy there because it signifies that I went through that journey and I earned that. But that's not who I am today. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not about that lifestyle. So I question, why do I still have it there? And it's probably one of those things where I'll probably end up throwing away at some point. But for now, I don't know. I can't let go of it.
Interesting. That's a great answer. And how about whoever the other one that wasn't talking?
For me, I would say just in my room, I have like these little kind of like, taped up quotes, like motivational quotes and stuff like that. They worked for me for a while, but I think that now I'm at the point to where I just don't need to see those quotes every single day to kind of remind myself like on the mission that I'm on and the journey. And so I would just say, just take those down, just let those things go, move on, see something else that's new, that's going to motivate me.
What's the best advice for your 20-year-old self?
Oh man, going back to just mentors and coaches, just we're really hard on ourselves. Thinking back from the age of 18 to 24, that's those 6 years of those dark times to where we went through hell, man. That's just the best way to put it. No mentors, no coaches, no guidance, just barely getting through. We still graduated college, still we're working, still going to the gym, but I just feel like those 6 years like could have been maximized. And I just feel like, damn, if I had those 6 years under my belt, like where I'd be at now. But, I can't have that mindset with it. There's a reason why I went through it all and why I am where I'm at now and serving people the way I am and making an impact. So I would just say 20 years old, hire mentors, hire coaches, just learn from some of the greats, just really get that guidance, because mentors and coaches have paid so much money to learn from other mentors and coaches. They've made mistakes, and it's going to really, really teach you guys, how to really just move the ball that you're trying to do, whatever it is, whatever endeavor it is. I would just double down on mentors and coaches, hands down.
And I would say to piggyback off that, for me, it's acquire a growth mindset over a fixed mindset as soon as possible. Just because, you have to be a constant student in this game of entrepreneurism and in life, in my opinion, because things are constantly evolving and changing, and you have to adapt to certain situations or else you're going to be left behind. And just goes back to living that life of mediocrity, in my opinion. If you have a growth mindset, you're always going to be, willing to learn. You're going to always want to expand your mindset. A great quote Tai Lopez once said to us too was, a mind full of conclusions has no room for expansion. So again, just acquire that growth mindset as soon as possible and just learn, and learn some more.
What do people never ask you, but you wish they did?
I'll take this one. For me, it's what I kind of said earlier is, why am I not afraid to fail in life? And it's just because I believe in what I'm doing. And, once you are so clear on what you're doing in life and what your purpose is, then you don't fear failing. Failing is just little bits and pieces of just learning. In my opinion, you dust yourself off, you go back to the drawing board, and that's that. So, if somebody asks me, why am I not afraid to fail? Why am I not afraid to invest money in something? It's just because I know the ROI is there. It might not be tomorrow, it might not be next week, but it's going to be there at some point.
If I were to talk to your friends and ask them what your superpowers are, what would they answer?
I would say just one of the biggest things is, Eric and I are very grounded, and we're givers, not takers. We're always looking to help people out, like even our friends, kind of encourage them, and just the groundedness, we've been in like these masterminds. We've worked on like ourselves so much. We've spent a lot of money to sit there and personally develop ourselves. And we never, ever let it get to our head. We never sit there and put ourselves on a pedestal. We never sit there and think we're better than other people. We're always very grounded by it because we always remember where we came from in those dark years we went through. So I would say the biggest superpower is just like really just, being grounded and helping others and being givers instead of takers. And I would say human communication, baby. Yeah. I think that Chris and I are just very good at establishing relationships with people and our clients as well, too. And that's what's really made us very successful. And that's really what it's all about, is establishing relationships and fostering them and building them and keeping them. And for me, I just I feel like I'm very good at that because I'm at a point in my life now, especially I can be vulnerable. I can show more empathy. I have the courage to do things and say things that's on my mind, and really put people in a good, place, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, to where it's like, they will trust me. They'll trust me. And, I'm more of a friend than anything else. So human communication, I think it's so powerful just to look people in the eyes, shake a hand, get on a video instead of just an email. So that's powerful for me.
Absolutely love it. Okay, last question. If you had to give a TED Talk on nothing that you're known for or nothing that you speak about, and it could be on anything that you like to do or have a passion for, or anything else in the world that you want, what would it be on?
Rob, I'll go Big Brother by 1 minute. We'll go on this one. I would probably do a TED Talk on basketball. And I know it sounds funny, but growing up, in elementary, middle school, and high school, like I loved basketball. I loved playing basketball. I played up until senior year, and I still love basketball till this day, watching it and playing it. And I don't know, I would just do a TED Talk like on something about the importance of like the love of the game. And it's because for me, I could even like step outside of like a really busy day, like just I'm really overwhelmed and stressed, and I could go down to the park down the street and go shoot some hoops, and that will just put so much more joy in my day and fulfill me, just because I love basketball so much. I love just playing, just shooting hoops, just the strategy behind it. So for me, I don't know, I would do some sort of TED Talk on basketball and like the love of the game and like how you could use it to, have some fun and joy in your day. All right, I got something.
Are you going to be able to beat him? Because that was good.
I think I'll beat him. Yeah. So one of my mentors, Philip McKernan, he has this quote that says, "In the absence of clarity, take action." In the absence of clarity, take action. I would do a TED Talk on that because I think that a lot of people really miss out on life because they want that really, just linear blueprint and want to always make sure that it's going to be safe and they're going to be okay, and sometimes, you don't have that clarity. Sometimes you don't have that blueprint. You don't have that right answer. But if you have that gut feeling, just take action. You know what I mean? And this can be used in any part of life. For one thing is when some people are very unhappy of where they live, right? I think the power of location is huge, right? It's very underlooked. If somebody wakes up every single day and they're not happy with where they live, if the weather's affecting them and their productivity, then move. You know what I mean? And you don't know if it's going to be a good move. You don't know if it's going to be, everything's going to work out the way you want, but there's no clarity there, right? So take action, so I would do a TED Talk on that. Just in the absence of clarity, take action and just learn from it. Trust your gut instead of sitting there trying to trust something on Google or something like that.
That's a great answer too. See, do you guys have any final words, suggestions, or an ask for the people that are listening?
I would just say kind of like the whole theme on this, I think it's centered around two things, what I really got out of this. And Rob, before I just want to say thank you so much for having us on here. It's been a pleasure. You've had some great questions and just thank you for having us on here. You really appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So I've kind of noticed two themes within this, and it's mentorship and coaches. And then the other thing is just not playing small, right? So if I could tell your listeners those two things, to don't be afraid to go out there and acquire mentors and coaches. Don't be afraid to go out there and pay to play and invest, right? The second thing is just don't be afraid to play big. I think too many people play small. They sit there to play, not to win, and instead reframe your mindset to sit there and play to win and win big, because you only have one life, one legacy, and we never know how much time we have on this planet, and the worst feeling ever is to wake up and ask yourself, what if I did this? What if, and instead really think about, doing it, taking action, playing big, and doing the things that you really want to do to fulfill your life.
Chris blew me out of the water with that one. So I'm going to go the opposite direction and go for an ask. And I ask your audience to check out our free book that we're giving out called The New Era of Fitness. And the reason why I asked them to check it out, because if you are that entrepreneur where you're putting health on the back burner, then this book is going to simplify all that stuff and really put you in the right direction, because we talk about the importance of flexible exercise, flexible nutrition, how to develop a growth mindset, be relentless, how to incorporate personal development, because fitness is a form of personal development. And most importantly, how do you intertwine it into a realistic, enjoyable, and flexible lifestyle based around health, wealth, love, and happiness? So that is my ask, is if you feel like you're in that situation and want to educate yourself and get going in the right direction, check out our book, The New Era of Fitness.
Okay, and we will link it up in the show notes. Is there a URL that you want to share right now?
Yes, that is theneweraoffitness.com.
All right. You guys are freaking amazing. Your dad is in heaven looking down, very, very proud of the work that the two of you have done. So it has been my absolute pleasure getting to know you guys. And thank you for taking the time.
Thanks so much, Rob. And thanks so much for that last that comment. Really appreciate that.
Thanks a lot, Rob.
You got it. All right. Thanks for listening. If you love this episode and you know someone that needs some help in either stepping up their work hard game or their play hard game, it would mean the world to me if you shared this podcast with them to help me get this movement out there. So if you like what you heard, head on over to iTunes, take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review, and I will be forever grateful. So until the next episode, excuses are over. It's time to live.